Been using Claude Code a lot here lately, and I just wanted to share something that I just kind of discovered. Well, I don't know if I discovered it. I may be late to the party. Maybe some of you might say, duh, but I actually think this is pretty amazing. So, like I said, I've been doing a lot of work with Claude Code here lately, and really a lot with all the Anthropic products. And Claude Code, as you know, is powerful. I'm definitely a fanboy. I did start out with GPT or ChatGPT, and now I'm loving the CLI and the tool. So a recent project that I did was I have an automatic quiz grader, and what I can do is I can take pictures of a student's handwritten quiz, run it through GPT-5, and have it graded for me. And so I provide the grading instructions here. Claude Code generated everything that you see. So this grade all script, you can see it's calling the Python scripts, and the Python scripts live over here. And so I'm compiling the results. This is essentially a pipeline. I'm grading each quiz, creating the student PDF, creating the grade report, compiling all the results, writing them out. I regrade quiz. So I have all of these Python scripts that I run. But as I'm working with Claude Code, I noticed that, hey, it knows the CLI, so it knows the command line. It can hook into the operating system and the file system. It's an LLM, so it understands English, so I can just prompt it. And I essentially have a runtime. It can generate code. And so I don't know if it was this skills announcement, but it made a light bulb go off in my head where I said, man, that's cool. These skills, you can combine code and prompts to make these kind of modular or units of skills or units of understanding that Claude can kind of reference, which I think is pretty cool. So I said, let me refactor this project, but let me use the concepts from the skills to do this. And so I think what we're looking at is we're looking into the future a little bit, where the LLM is just a substrate that you interact with, and it knows how to interact with the operating system, call stuff, understand what you want when you provide it the right context. And so here's the new project, and you can already see it's a lot cleaner. I still have a data directory. It still needs to read that directory. I just have two prompts. Notice the number. So this is essentially like the pipeline I want to run. I'll run this one first and this one second. We'll look at that later. And then I just have this tools directory. This is the only Python code that's in this directory or in this project. I don't have any of the Python scripts from the previous one. So all of these Python scripts, they went away. I don't have these anymore. I just have this one. And so what happened? I don't need an API key because I started messing with Claude, and Claude can do OCR natively through Claude Code. So I don't need an Anthropic key. I don't need an OpenAI key. I don't need Python to call to convert the image to base 64s, call the API, get the results back. I can just do it all here. So I said, well, wait a minute. I'm going to just start leveraging the LLM and just do as minimal, the smallest amount of orchestration that I can possibly do and see how far I can push it. And so the only thing I did was I said, if you got to install any packages, use UV. I love UV. Utilize the scripts in the tools directory. So that's this PDF. And then don't be shy about running things in batches. So I know this is like an agentic behavior, but it's not really an agent. It's kind of just, it is an agent. It's just running a process for me. But then I just have these two prompts. So the two prompts will be the conversion, convert all the files to PNG because PNG is just easier to work with, and then run all the data and PNG files against this prompt. And so I'll say that. And then after that's done, I'll say generate a PDF of each quiz and then make, and then make a full report for me using the PDF reporting tool, which is here. And it'll run everything. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, yeah, you can do this in projects. In projects, it is kind of similar. You can click in. I do have all the files loaded here. You can prompt and essentially chat with all the files. I can say grade all quizzes and run this, and it'll run through. And I have plenty of capacity. This is the main prompt on how to grade them. But I still won't get my PDF. So I still kind of hit a wall when I wanted to do a PDF. And I may want to take it a little bit further, where I'll add another tool, which would be like an email tool. It'll take in an email address that might be that I pulled from the student roster, that it matches up from the student name that it pulls from the image, and just emails the student the results automatically, right? So I could put that in here and it'll work well. So I just think this is a nice glimpse into the future. Claude Code is extremely powerful. I think the LLM is just going to be essentially the operating system. I know some people don't agree with that, but I just think it's just going to do everything. And you may not even need to really code anymore. I know that's a hot take, but that's where we are. And this is working really well for me. I love it because it's just clean. And here, look, you just add. I'll just add the second prompt. And if I say run this, we'll just pick it up. It'll read the prompt in. It'll start generating all the summaries. It calls the tool. It said, okay, I'll run the tool. Look, it picks up the tool, and then it starts running. And then I'll say yes. I'm going to say no because I already ran this. But if I say yes, it'll just loop through. Now, the disadvantage of all of this is it's not the fastest thing. When I'm calling into the API, I can batch requests, run things in parallel. So it's faster. So your pipeline is more flexible and more efficient. But when I'm just trying to solve a problem and I want to have as minimal code as possible, and I'm not building like a SaaS system or anything. I just want to run something. It's extremely powerful. So leverage the CLI, leverage the runtime where it can write and run code on the fly, and leverage, good, simple, straightforward prompts to start solving your problems.